Hey everybody. Happy Monday, friends. I was expecting to do like a 2.5 hour live talking about time traveling with my husband, and we were able to cut it down to like under an hour. And I think it's, attributed to the fact that I toned down the amount of slides, and we didn't talk about all or multiple theories on time traveling. And then also, after we did the live, me and him talked, and we were like, I just mental fatigue. Now I don't know if it was the content or just life, but our brains were just tired. Like we were so amped up, and then just brain was tired. But I think it was a good show. I got some positive comments on it. Some people agreed with my theory about time traveling and consciousness, and it was cool. It was cool. It's definitely something that we might pick up again in the future, but there's just, we're conspiracy theorians, and we we got to talk about alien zombies and all of that. So I hope you guys watched and enjoy. I kind of like the shorter ones. At long ones are just like a Kiki, a Who, a Joe's, just hanging out and shooting the shit. I like those too, but conspiracy theory, more focused content, I think should be under an hour, unless I have comments or pretty much participation from the viewers that will keep the conversation going. If not, it's pretty much a lecture, and lecture should be under an hour. But if it is like a topic, a conspiracy theory topic, an educational topic, and I get back and forth with comments and people in the who are watching it live to keep it going and make it less of a lecture, then cool. If not, then under an hour I think is good, because who wants to sit there and listen to only somebody's ideas for more than an hour? I want to talk about something that I probably am going to have a very controversial stance on, but I am all for minimal government in involvement when it comes to your home. Now, there is certain, we live in a society, right? That is what we do. We have subscribed to a society, and if you were born in this country, you didn't have a choice on what country you were born in. If you chose to remain to stay here, then you're pretty much accepting the terms and conditions and living and abiding by them, and being a law-abiding citizen, resident, what have you. But I also think there's a level of flavors that don't need to be controlled or monitored by the government, especially when free will, free choice is not being restricted. That's my disclaimer. So again, they have pulled Zuckerberg to the Senate floor. Is it the Senate floor? To question him, and pretty much I think they set him up, and pretty much I think it was very bullyish behavior for him to be short side by them saying the families and of the victims are here. Are you going to apologize to them? And before he could say anything, that man kept cutting him off. I'll figure out his name, and I'll put it in my description about what happened. But pretty much, of course, it's a white man. Are you going to apologize to the family? Apologize to the family. They're all here. What do you have to say? Pardon self. And he does apologize. But it's the I'm sorry what happened to you. And it's not apology. It's not an apology of admission of guilt. It's just, I'm sorry what happened to you. So if you don't know, these are the families of children who have taken their own lives because of bullying that they say happened on Zuckerberg's platforms. The book face. These were children. Now, when I signed up for Bookface, you needed a college email address. That is how old I am. You needed a college email address that ended in edu at cuny.johnj.edu, at stonybrook.edu, at harvard.edu. You get it. When I signed up for Bookface, I was in college. I signed up with my college email address. Short time later, they removed that restriction, but you had to be of a certain age. And I know you had to be over the age of whatever. I don't know. Don't quote me. Is it 14, 18? I believe it's 14. I think so. So when I saw children with Facebook, I said, how? How is that possible? How are children on Facebook? You have to be of a certain age. You have to put a birthday in. Duh, they were putting in birthdays to be able to get onto this online social media platform. So now these children are on an adult based software platform, or adult-ish. These are very young children, and they're probably being bullied by other children, and they took their lives. Now, it is tragic, yes it is, but unless these were children who are wards of the system, neglected foster children, even neglected adopted children, if they were living in homes of and the person that brought them into this world was their guardian and they lived in the same house as them, how did this happen? Not the bullying. You can't stop the bullying. But how do you allow a child to maintain a platform where they're being bullied, and how you did not know they were being bullied, to either one, intervene if you knew this person that was bullying your child, or if you did not know, to remove the platform from their capabilities. Now, they wouldn't have access to such platforms to where the bullying becomes so incessive that they couldn't cope or deal with it if you didn't provide the medium for them to gain access to this platform. For example, you bought them the phone, you bought them the tablet, you supplied the internet access via Wi-Fi, and I get it. We are in this age where internet is not a privilege. I mean, yes, it's not. It's not a privilege. It is now a necessity. We are so tied up to the internet that it is now one of our basic survival tools as far as food and water. If you want to be involved in society, you need internet access. That's just a fact at this point. But these are children. So their access to internet should be educational purposes and entertainment. I get it. Entertainment now comes in the internet, but not their social. That's where parental involvement and parental responsibility comes in, because your child's social development should come nowhere near the internet. My children's social development is not in the internet. They don't interact with anyone in real time, whether it be adult or children, via the internet, except when we were on lockdown and the only social interaction with their family and or peers or friends was the internet. We're not in lockdown anymore. And even if your children proximity to social interaction is the internet, it shouldn't be without you. My kids are not talking to their cousins without me being in earshot, or even if I don't want to be in the camera because I was looking at a hot mess, I'm right there. I know what's said and I know what's being said. There's no way my children are able to be bullied on the internet because I should be there. Mark Zuckerberg is not your kid's daddy. Bookface is not their home or their guardian, not even their guardian by proxy. See, there's a written thing or unwritten thing that when your children are in the care of another adult, like let's say you send them to school, their parental unit at the time they're in school is the teachers and or the administrators, because they're in their care for that time. So you are liable for what happens to that child. The school is liable for what happens to that child while they're in school, because you have, the parent, put the care, I'll find the exact wording, but you put you sign off temporarily your parental responsibilities when they're in school because you're not there. So you leave it in the hand of a trusted local government, because a school, I don't know about private school, but if you send them to public or charter, they're our local government for that time being. So you don't sign that over when you allow your children to have Facebook. Them terms and conditions are pages and pages and pages long. So for the Senate to bring Mark Zuckerberg and make him accountable for the deaths of these children, to me, is you don't want to hold these white parents accountable for not parenting and protecting their children in their home. Now, I say white parents because the little snippet I saw, I didn't see a Hispanic family. I didn't see an Asian family. I didn't see a black family. What I saw was weeping white families. And that goes to the stereotypes of, get out of my room, Ma. You're not allowed to come in my room, Ma. You gotta knock before you come into my room, Ma. Parents, I'm a gentle parent because I want to break generational trauma, which I feel black parents had to do because they knew no other way, and poverty and frustration takes over the brain. And because you had a hard life, you want to give your kids a hard life to protect them and have them ready. But that's our past and we don't live there no more. But my kids could never say, you have to knock before you come into my room. Actually, my kids are not even allowed to be in their room with the door closed. I close their doors when they're sleeping because I'm still awake and the light and sounds coming from my room, I don't want to wake them up. But my kids are not allowed to be in the room when the door is closed. And I have eyes on them when I'm not in their room. Let's just say that. They're in their room playing, the door is open, and I have eyes on them, even if I'm not in that room. Nowhere ever will my children be allowed to tell me I don't have access to anything that they're doing. My kids have unequipped cell phones that we use just for the internet. So they went to school and told their teachers they have cell phones. And the teachers were like, what? You have phones? You have cell phones? And they were just as mortified as I was. And then we went to parent teachers conference. We went to parent teachers conference and they were gently telling me about their phones. And I said, oh, no, no, no. The phones are not on. The phones are for YouTube Kids, PBS Kids, the drawing app. That's what the phones were for. And the phones were for that access. And they were like, oh. I said, because they have tablets, but the tablets are too big and too heavy for them, right? For them to comfortably hold and maneuver, right? So the tablets are too uncomfortable for them to hold and maneuver, and they have unworking cell phones to access YouTube Kids, PBS Kids, the drawing where you use your finger to draw and stuff like that. And the teachers were like, yes, oh. They thought they had operational cell phones where they had access to make calls and yada 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 and bing bang boom diddly diddly boom boom boom. No, they do not. And I did not know, because I told my kids to go on YouTube Kids and PBS Kids. My daughter started, and this is how, as a parent, you study your kids, you look for change in behaviors, and even if you don't have a psychology degree like I do, you have to pay attention to your children. My daughter started doing things and her drawings started changing. Her drawings started changing and she started doing things, and I talked to her. And you also have to foster an environment where your children are not afraid to talk to you for fear of hard and abusive repercussions. Because children are supposed to make mistakes. Children are supposed to be sneaky. Children are supposed to test boundaries. Children are supposed to question and test authority. That is what they're supposed to do. You are supposed to redirect them. So to say my kid is sneaky, they are supposed to be. That is by nature. That is inherent. That is animalistic behavior. They are supposed to explore their environment. They are supposed to put things in their mouth. They are supposed to fall, trip, and get cut. There is a reason why babies and children have Wolverine-like healing abilities. There is a reason why. That is what they are supposed to do. You as a parent is supposed to redirect behavior that is dangerous, that will have long-term consequences. You are supposed to teach them why, if you do this, this and this outcome will happen. Therefore, they can build these mental connections and synapses and say, if I jump off this roof, I will break my leg. And if I break my leg, I will be in a cast and I won't be able to have fun and run around in the park. Therefore, I'm not going to want to jump off the roof, because the consequence of jumping off the roof is going to take away of things I want to do. That is what you're supposed to direct them into, having these thought processes on their own. You're not supposed to say, don't jump off the roof. Why, mommy? Because I said so. You're doing your kids a disservice. You have to pour into your children. You have to take time and talk to your kids and go through all the things that you already know, because you are the adult and you already know this. They don't know this. And I hate to hear when people say, I told them 3 times already. They already know this. They don't know because you told them. And they don't understand the why. They just know that you told them no. They don't understand the why. That's not a long-lasting memory impression. That's why negative discipline doesn't work as good as positive reinforcement and positive discipline. There's something called positive discipline. I teach my kids consequences to their actions. I don't tell them, rarely do I tell them no. Rarely do I tell them no unless I have to immediately stop the behavior because I know the consequence is going to be long lasting. But there is a conversation as to why mommy said no. I give them choices. You don't want to go to bed right now? Okay, that's fine. If you don't go to bed right now and you're going to wake up tired and you're going to wake up tired and you're going to be sleepy and this and this and this and yada, yada, yada. Go to bed now so you can get rest and you won't have a bad day in school where if you have a bad day in school, your consequence for having a bad day in school and not listening and being whiny and and having behavioral problems is that you sit out at recess. Because you didn't have a good night's sleep, you're going to sit out at recess. Oh, I love recess. Oh, yeah, I know. So you need to go to bed now so you're rested so you're not cranky and have behaviors and make poor decisions in school so you don't get sit out in recess. And it takes time. It takes time. It's a lot of talking. It's a lot of repeating yourself. It's a lot of saying the same thing. It's a lot of that. It has to be. You are molding humans, not dogs. Humans with brains and thought patterns and preferences that are totally different than yours. They don't like the same foods. They don't look exactly like you. They are not you. You are molding humans, not dogs. If you don't want to pour into your children and invest in your children, don't have them. What Michael Jackson said, if you can't feed the baby, then don't have the baby. Same with these parents who are trying to use the government to make Bookface accountable for their lack of parenting. When you are not supposed to be a child on these social media platforms. Why is little Johnny talking to little Susie on the internet and little Susie lives 3,000 miles away and is bullying little Johnny on the internet? Why is that happening in your home on the internet you pay for? We do not have government regulated internet. This is not communist China. So when my daughter's behavior changed, we had a respectable conversation because I respect my children. And she told me she was going on grown up YouTube after I told her not to go on grown up YouTube. She told me that. I said, Elise, I told you not to go on grown up YouTube. She knew I told her that and she still went on. And you know what the consequence was that? She had her phone taken away. It's still taken away. She doesn't use her phone to be on the internet anymore. And I disabled grown up YouTube. But I was able to catch it because I study my children's behavior, talk to them, and my daughter was comfortable enough to tell me that she was doing something wrong. And she didn't have the fear of getting a beating or a spanking because she did something wrong. The punishment matched the behavior. Now, she was watching kid content on the kiddie YouTube, but kiddie YouTube is not regulated. And you could put in something as innocent as Peppa Pig, and you have a lot of content creators that are using technology and making Peppa Pig be pregnant by her little brother. We have the technology that you can have your children's cell phones turn off at a certain time, password protected. They can't go here, they can't go there. They're not allowed except 20 hours a week of internet access. You have that. And even if your kids travel to school on their own and you cut off the mobile data and they try to go to somewhere like Starbucks or McDonald's and use their free internet, it won't allow them to. Now, yeah, they could use their friends' phones. Yes, they could use their friends' phones, but how um how long are they around their friends to be subjugated to the amount of bullying that it takes that you can't cope and you can't function anymore, that you have to take your own life. It's not much. There's no foolproof way to keep your kids from being bullied and keep the internet away from them. It's not possible. But you are limited. You are able to limit the amount of access they have to bullying like this. You can do that. And although I think that Mark Zuckerberg, if you shave the back of his head, he has the mark of the beast. I believe that. I believe he got the mark of the beast. I don't think Meta or social media should be responsible for these kids taking their lives. I just don't.